And good morning. Time again for another edition of Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions with Gateville Law Firm and Sean Robertson. Gateville Law Firm located in Yorkville and online at gatevillelawfirm.com. And Sean Robertson joins us again in studio. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are things?
Things are going well. I'm excited about today's topic.
Yeah, we've got another good one for you. Lots of different discussions that we can have centered around real estate attorneys, and we've already hit on a couple of good topics today, focusing on transferring real estate without probate court. So what are some of the basics here?
Yeah, some of the basics, and I think one thing that kind of separates us from the crowd is my team has over 50 years of title insurance. So a lot of times what you see is somebody dies and they have a will. So the first step is determining whether you're going to go through probate or non-probate attorney. Typically, you can go through probate court, but it can be costly and it takes a while. So one of the questions that I ask is a non-probate alternative, does it make sense for you and your family? Typically, if you have minor children or disabled adult, and not everybody agrees, that doesn't work. So a lot of times, the best solution to avoid probate court is through like a land trust, a transfer on death instrument, or a trust.
Okay, so those are kind of the three main points here: the transfer on death instrument, land trust, and a living trust, as you mentioned. What are some of the breakdowns of those different areas? So
a transfer on death instrument is kind of like a life insurance policy where you have a beneficiary. The downside to that is incapacity. As I mentioned in some of the other shows, I think incapacity, especially for people that are seniors now, is become an equally important issue as well as death. But the benefit of that is you can transfer real estate ease without probate court. The second concept is a land trust, and we use a lot of land trusts. I love land trusts for people that are self-employed or business people. And again, like a transfer on death instrument, you name a beneficiary upon a death, and it goes to that person upon a death. I think the best strategy is through a revocable living trust, and it provides incapacity planning, death planning, and you can have alternative scenarios that you address with the trust. So what I see, the people that have the least amount of problems upon a death are people that have revocable trust that pass outside of probate court.
You've listed three big options here, and then there's a fourth option, I guess. What if you do absolutely nothing?
If you do absolutely nothing at some point, you're going to end up in court most likely. So some people try to add like a kid on the title. That's not a good solution because you're going to pay a lot of money in capital gains at some point. So I would not suggest that.
You want to try to avoid court as best you can, right? Is that kind of the main goal here?
I think that's the main goal. And I think the end of the day, you want your family to enjoy the what you worked hard for. And most of the time, I think a trust is the easiest way to accomplish that. But what we do is we'll talk to you, sit down and listen to you, and figure out what the best strategy is for you.
About a minute or so left. Are there other pros and cons with all of these different options that we want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, obviously cost is a concern. So the trust tends to be a little bit more upfront expensive, but on the back end, it's less expensive. And it also depends on your family. Do you have step kids? Do you have blended families? Do you have a disabled kid? Because that's going to require a different solution. So it really just entails us as estate planning attorneys getting to know you and your family and developing a comprehensive solution to deal with your situation.
Well, that's the best part of what you guys do is you're there to answer all the questions. And this is all three of these shows we've done so far. It seems like there are things that pop up that you just, as a regular person, might not think of and be aware of, and that's where you guys can come in and give all the advice and information, and you can find out more by contacting the folks at Gateville Law Firm. They're in Yorkville. You can go online at gatevillelawfirm.com. You can call 630-780-1034. Sean Robertson, our guest, Gateville Law Firm. The show is called Trust Matters, Real Estate and Estate Planning Solutions, because at Gateville Law Firm, trust matters. We'll see you again next week.